Hi there. So I'm going to go over the Ayurvedic herbal remedies that I just started taking about a week ago. Prior to that, I was taking individual herbs. I had been taking olive leaf extract, ashwagandha, gotu kola, guduchi. Those were the main herbs. Oh, I was also taking some mangosteen. That's for inflammation. Although when I get my tests done, they say, oh, you don't really have inflammation. Maybe that's because I've been doing the mangosteen. And also a couple of other supplements, GABA and quercetin. There might be a couple of things that I'm forgetting in there. So I had a consultation with Kerala Ayurveda. They were having an internship online. And so I got to work with Dr. J, and they went over my case. And then I waited almost about a month so that they could send me the recommendations. And these recommendations, the students apparently got together and then with the help of their teacher, gave me these herbs, or actually I had to buy them, but they gave me the recommendations for the herbs. And I've now been taking them for about a week. I have not seen this amazing difference in that period of time, but I've just started them, and there is a method to this madness. So I'm going to share them. So if you're a student of Ayurveda, or you just want to know more about herbs, or if you are an Ayurvedic practitioner or health counselor, this is always good to get more information about herbs because there's so many to remember, and specifically the herbal formulas, because Kerala really likes to use a lot of these classical Ayurvedic formulas. And I find this interesting because, first of all, they've been used for a long, long time, like hundreds, if not thousands of years, or developed over a long period of time. And so they have certain efficacies based on this trial and error process that has been happening for so long. It's different from our Western perspective. In the Western world, it's like, well, if we didn't prove it with a double-blind randomized study, it doesn't exist. We don't think that way in Ayurveda. We look through experience and the wisdom of our ancestors in order to determine what might work and what might not work. And then we also personalize the treatments to people. And because people have different imbalances, they need different remedies. So in this case, I have been prescribed, not technically, because we're not doing technical medicine here. We don't want to be accused of practicing medicine without a license, but I have been recommended to have actually 3 herbal remedies. One is Indukantam Kwatham, or Kwatham, however you want to pronounce this. So that's one of them. You can actually see it written in Devanagari right there. It's a little bit too small for you. I've actually learned how to read that. I'm not like really good at it, but I actually was reading the box and going, oh yeah, I can see how that actually says that there. And then this one is Dhanwantharam Gulika. Also, actually the top script is not Devanagari, that's another script, but the second one here. So that's the other one. And then my good old favorite, Ashwaganda. And this is the Kerala brand Ashwaganda. I had already been taking ashwagandha, and I had just finished up my bottle of the other ashwagandha that I was taking. So I was kind of curious to see how Kerala's ashwagandha would be different, because now I've taken a couple of different brands of ashwagandha. And since I hate taking pills, what I usually do when I get capsules like this is that I will open them up, and then I will either put it on food or put it into whatever Anupon or delivery vehicle in Ayurveda. That could be like aloe vera juice or something. I'll put it in there and I'll mix it in, so I don't actually take the capsule. So because I'm breaking open the capsules, I actually get to see and taste what's actually inside the capsules. And each time I get ashwagandha, it's very different, which concerns me, frankly. And I'm not sure what is the right one. I would hope that this brand, because it's associated with a very well-respected Ayurveda school, is of good quality. But you never know. It doesn't really have a lot of information on here in terms of being organic or whatnot. It does say every batch of Kerala Ayurveda ashwagandha capsules is laboratory verified for potency and purity. It doesn't tell us which lab. And there's this really small thing I can't see here. From God's own country, product of India. Okay, so I've had ashwagandha now from Kerala. I've also tried Now brands. You probably would recognize Now brands. They have that, like that bright orange on all of their labels with the purple kind of 1970s style now. And I've used their ashwagandha, and I've also used Organic India's ashwagandha. And Organic India, I like their products. They come in glass bottles, which is great if you're not that crazy about plastic. They are a little bit more expensive. They're now is just frankly cheaper. And I don't, honestly, I really have to do more research about which of these brands is really the best. These have been established brands, so I would hope that they're fairly responsible in their sourcing, or at least it's fairly safe. The brand of Organic India ashwagandha was actually a yellowish powder. And then the now ashwagandha was like a dark brown powder. So are they using a different part of the plant? Are they processing it differently? Well, then I get this ashwagandha from Kerala, and it's actually kind of a muddy green, and it doesn't come out as a powder. It comes out very kind of clumped together. I don't know if there's moisture in there or just maybe more oils in whatever part of the plant they're using. So this ashwagandha is actually different from the other two ashwagandhas. I can't say I've noticed an amazing difference between when I stopped taking the now ashwagandha and this ashwagandha. And of course I started taking these other herbs too. So either way, I have gotten a good response from the previous ashwagandha that I've had from Organic India and now, because when I take ashwagandha, I definitely notice a difference in terms of I have vata imbalance. They made it very clear you have a lot of vata imbalance, Stephanie, and I already knew that. And when it gets really out of control, I get anxious. And ashwagandha just like, it chills me out in a really nice way. So since I've been taking this, I haven't gotten more anxious after taking it. So it's at least doing that part of the job. So this is the ashwagandha. And ashwagandha, if you don't already know, is really one of my favorite herbs, if not my favorite herb, in addition to gotu kola. It says here, in the Indian healing system of Ayurveda, ashwagandha is considered a rasayana or rasayana, meaning rejuvenative. Research on ashwagandha and the withanolide compounds, don't know if I pronounced that right, it contains, indicates a potent adaptogenic benefits, supporting management of stress, enhanced performance, and a sense of well-being. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Okay, so this is a really great remedy for people who are stressed out, who have immune system issues. It's an adaptogen, meaning it won't ramp your immune system up too much. If you don't need it to be ramped up too much, it adapts. That's why it's called an adaptogen. And it's very, very good for anxiety. So for any sort of client that I might work with who has anxiety, I might recommend ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is not a sedative. So if you're anxious and you take ashwagandha and you think you're going to chill out right away, like if you had a medical marijuana joint, no, it doesn't do that. It is something where you take it for a couple weeks and then your anxiety will calm down a bit. I also just recently learned that it has been shown potentially in some studies to be very helpful with fibromyalgia. And it was just funny. I was working with a client and she has fibromyalgia, and I was like trying to figure out what to start her with. That was kind of like some clients I'll start them with just a little bit of herbs. And I just had this like intuitive brain flash. It was like, she needs ashwagandha. And I was like, okay, that's not going to hurt her. So I said, why don't you try some ashwagandha? And then I said, I'm going to look it up after the session. And I looked it up and I was like, okay, good. I'm really glad to see that there is a correlation here. So fibromyalgia, if you have lots of unexplained aches and pains, you might try some ashwagandha. Okay, so that's the ashwagandha. And then let's go to this Dhanwantharam. So if you see a W in an Ayurvedic remedy, you can pronounce it with a W or a V, because they didn't really have W's in Sanskrit. So it's kind of like a, and then the DH is like, duh. If you want to be like, you know, super fancy with your Sanskrit, which I'm not. So Dhanwantharam Gulika. Gulika means something which I don't remember off the top of my head. And this is, it comes in a little box. And these are these really cute little tablets. And they told me to take one tablet, breakfast and dinner, and ideally 30 minutes before food. And that is on this sheet. You can see that. they kind of need to have a little bit of an explanation, because I had to really think about this. Like, okay, this is highlighted and underlined. I guess that means they want me to take this 30 minutes before food. I'm going to be honest. I'm not being, Stephanie's being a bad Ayurvedic practitioner. I take it kind of right before I eat, especially when I wake up in the morning. I can have hypoglycemia. So when I wake up, I kind of like shuffle on up to the kitchen, and then I immediately take my herbs. And then right after that, I basically eat. I maybe could do better at dinner, but then it's half the time I forget. So I just want to let you know, if you're a person who's working with an Ayurvedic practitioner or any herbalist, like, don't freak out if you're not doing things exactly. I mean, that's nice to do, but it's better that you take it than if you don't take it. So if you go, oh my gosh, I forgot to take it before I ate, now I can't take it, and you don't take it at all, that's not good. It's just better that you take it. The reason why they want you to take this before food is that's supposed to help stimulate your digestion, aka Agni in Ayurveda. So ideally you take it before, because it's going to help get your stomach all set up and doing things properly. So I'm possibly, not getting the total benefit if I take it right before I eat, but it's still going to help because there's a lot of good things in there. So let's go over what exactly is in this little green box of stuff. And by the way, because these are herbs, these tablets are very kind of like, they're powdery. I just chew them because I hate taking pills, and that means they taste kind of bad, but it's okay. This one actually, I don't really mind how this tastes. It has lots of spices that you'd have in your spice rack, and so this one doesn't taste too bad. It's the other one that's like really gross. Okay, so let me see. Dhanwantharam Gulika is an Ayurvedic medicine used for respiratory system, digestive ailments, and heart diseases. This is from ayurtimes.com, AYUR times.com. Then they list a whole bunch of things: heart diseases, hiccups, phthisis, I don't know what that is, anorexia, nausea and vomiting, excessive salivation, I don't have that, breathlessness, dyspnea, asthma, cough, bronchitis. Now, I actually don't have any lung things going on, but I'm thinking, as I was first reading this, a lot of this doesn't sound like me. Why are they giving this to me, right? Then they go on about it can prevent health problems occurring in women during puerperium, period following the childbirth. It induces excretion of toxins from the uterus and helps in quick recovery of the uterus to pre-pregnancy size. Well, I'm not pregnant. I haven't been pregnant, so I don't really need it for that. But then I scroll down and it talks about the pharmacological actions. So it's a detoxifier. They have this written here as Pachak. I'm thinking they're talking about Amma. So it's detoxifying Amma. And I was told I have Amma, a 2+ Amma. Adaptogenic. So here we have another adaptogen. Alterative. Some people also pronounce that alterative. Tending to restore health. Antibacterial. Anti-hyperlipidemic. I don't remember what that is off the top of my head. I have to look that up. I have it in my brain somewhere and it's just not coming to me. It promotes the reduction of lipid levels in the blood. So if you have like too much cholesterol, that might be good for you. Anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antioxidant, antipyretic. I believe that reduces fever, but I want to double check because I'm doing a video. I don't want to guess and tell you the wrong thing. And I'm correct. Antipyretic is a substance that reduces fever. Anti-stress, antitussive, so kind of like Robitussin, that should be reducing cough. Let me look that up. See, when we learn herbs in Ayurveda, we actually don't learn all these properties. These are Western properties of herbs. So I'm still kind of memorizing all of them. So an antitussive technically suppresses coughing. So cough suppressant. Cardiac stimulant, cardioprotective, carminative, that reduces gas. Depurative, purifies blood. Digestive stimulant, febrifuge. Here's another one I need to look up. Febrifuge sounds like something you'd use in a lab. I've used my febrifuge. And actually what that means is, it's also reduces fever. I don't know why they have that twice then. Okay, mucolytic. So that has to do with the mucus. I believe that would help us expel mucus. And yes, it makes it less thick and sticky and easier to cough up. And it's anti-sialaga, ANTISIALAGOGUE, reduces saliva production. I'm not even going to pretend I know how to pronounce that one. In terms of Ayurveda, it pacifies Vata and Kapha dosha. Its prabhav is carminative. Now, see, that's not a typical way you say what the prabhav is, but and it's working on rasa, rakta, mamsa, and medas, and the organs, lungs, stomach, liver, and uterus. Main indication, breathlessness, cough, hiccup, and vomiting, none of which I have. So once again, why am I taking this? Well, let's just go back to what some of these herbs are here. We have cardamom, dried ginger, haritaki, nutmeg, Indian nightshade, kiratatika, chirayata is also what it's called. And I'm not familiar with that herb. Jira, which is cumin or cumin, however you want to pronounce that, clove. So there's a lot of things in here that are actually digestive stimulants. And that in and of itself might be helpful for me, because one of the things I had told them when I had my session was that when I first got this crazy acute illness a couple of years ago, which I'm still recovering from, my digestive system got really messed up and I could barely even eat for like 6 months. And it's taken me years for it to kind of get to like somewhat of a semi-normal state. And at the time I had the session, I was telling them that I was having some churning in my stomach and I was kind of belching more than I normally don't belch. So I wasn't having gas the other way. It just was like I was having gas come up. So that was one of the things that they were writing down and going, that's very interesting that this is what's going on. And then they determined that based on what I was telling them about my digestion, that I had Vishama Manda Agni, which is kind of like a Vata Kapha Agni. So it's variable, but it's also slow and not really working very well. So one of the main things they wanted to do with giving me the herbs, even though in terms of my symptoms, which are primarily neurological, they wanted to work on my digestion. So let me back up just a second. So I'm telling them that I'm belching and stuff, but I'm not really personally worried about my belching. I mean, it's not like I'm belching all the time. It's not like you would even hear me doing it because I'm very quiet when I do that sort of thing. So I'm not going to an Ayurvedic practitioner going, oh, my stomach's churning a little bit and I'm belching. And that's probably the same for a lot of other people who might be going to an herbalist or an Ayurveda practitioner. You might be doing that if it's like really bothering you and you're not, it's causing discomfort. But for me, my main symptoms were I have neuropathy, my feet have burning and tingling. I have, sensations all over my body when I sleep. I wake up and my face is vibrating. It's driving me crazy. Sometimes I'll wake up and my hand is numb. And then I'm having this unexplained pain in my hands now that has recently gotten a lot worse. So from my perspective, I'm like, yeah, I'm belching, big deal. But in Ayurveda, that belching is an indication of the source of the other problems, because in Ayurveda, digestion is really everything, or most everything. It's not necessarily everything. But if you don't have that functioning well, then other things aren't going to function so well. So one of their main approaches is to try to get my digestion back on track. And they want to do that by using this type of herbal formula, which has a lot of great things for digestion in it. But then what's also interesting to me is I was scrolling down this long list of stuff because I am not familiar with this formula prior to taking this. I mean, we did learn a lot of herbs in my program, but boy, I mean, there's still so much to learn and it's going to be a lifelong process. So I'm scrolling down. What else might this be good for? Therapeutic indications: bronchitis, cough, breathlessness, asthma. I'm thinking, yeah, whatever. Hiccup, yeah, whatever. Phthisis or whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. Nausea and vomiting, don't have that. Excessive salivation, don't have that. Headache, nah, not really. Giddiness, anorexia, no. And then we get to peripheral neuropathy. What does that have to do with anything else? I don't know. But apparently in the process of using this particular formula, they found it might help with peripheral neuropathy, maybe because if the digestion is functioning better, then whatever is causing that neuropathy might subside. I don't know. There's not a lot of information about this list, and who knows if this was even an accurate list, but assuming that it was, I just thought that was very interesting. Can also help with premenstrual syndrome, which I was also complaining about because my symptoms get worse when I'm PMSing. So anyway, so that's that one formula. And I think that their reasoning behind that was pretty good once you get past the initial, well, I don't have asthma. Why did I need this? And this is one of the things with Ayurveda. There's a lot of different ways. I hate to use this phrase because it's kind of cruel. There's a lot of different ways to skin a cat. We need to replace this. There's a lot of different ways to pet a cat. and so there are different ways to approach trying to get the digestive system to, get better. And this is just one of these little formulas, and it's just a little tablet. But when I taste it, and often it's actually good to taste the herbs. So the fact that I'm chewing it is actually probably a good thing because I'm getting the flavors. And it does just kind of have this, like, I don't know, there's just something about this one that I think is nice, and it's very small, so that makes it easy. Now let's get to the second one. Now this one is this one is a bear, because I have to take 2 tablets twice a day, and they're big tablets, and I'm not going to swallow them whole because they're way too big for me. And this is the size of them. They are like super big. And fortunately, I don't have to crunch them up. I have a little pill cruncher that I use sometimes if I have to take large pills, or I'll cut them in half. These I can just chew. So I'll just pop 2 of these in my mouth and I chew them, and it tastes terrible. It tastes absolutely awful, but I get them down just fine. And there's a whole bunch of other herbs in here, most of whom an herb isn't a person, Stephanie, most of which I can't necessarily tell you a lot about individually, but I will tell you what this is another classical formula from Ayurveda. And it is known as a formula that boosts immunity. According to the classical texts, it also relieves fever, and it increases strength as well as immunity. So that's really good for me because all of my problems started when I got an infection. And there's been this question that I've been having about whether there's still underlying or reactivated infections that are causing my continuing symptoms. And I have done another video on this. You can watch if I don't know why you'd be interested, but anyway, the short version of this is that I just had a whole bunch of other recent tests done. I will be getting a brain MRI next week to make sure, or to see if I have multiple sclerosis, which hopefully I don't have. But this particular hand pain that I have, they've tested everything. I don't have gout. I don't have arthritis showing up in the x-ray. I don't have carpal tunnel. They did a nerve test on that. I don't have rheumatoid arthritis or autoimmune. They tested me for that. So all of these other possible reasons for the hand pain have been ruled out. So it might be a viral arthritis. This is the only thing I can find that might fit this. Or I'm having a reaction to the MMR vaccine that I took in December, which can sometimes cause that type of, the rubella portion is known. This is on the CDC website. It's not some conspiracy theory. It is known that it can cause some arthritis in the hands of women in particular. But I had a little bit of it before. It just has recently gotten worse. And so in the course of me getting this recent testing, the only thing that came out positive was the cold sore version of herpes, the herpes virus 1. This is the mouth herpes that almost everybody has. I mean, not everybody, but over 60% of people have tested positive for this, and I don't ever get cold sores, so I didn't know that I had it. Fortunately, I don't have the other one, but herpes simplex 1 can go into your central nervous system, and if you are sick from something else, or immune system gets whacked out, it can reactivate and actually cause some serious problems. So I don't know if it's that. I'm actually thinking about see if I can get a spinal tap, which I've been putting off because I just don't want to have that done unless I really need to. But short version is that there might still be some sort of latent, it could be the Epstein-Barr. They did a PCR and the Epstein-Barr is not in my blood, but my integrative doctor said it could be in my spinal fluid. So it's possible that there's some just sort of virus that I still have. So this is, and that's not an Ayurveda perspective, but I'm also just like merging the possible Western reasons with the Ayurvedic reasons. And this just shows you how difficult it is sometimes with a complex case like mine, where we don't really know what's going on. What do you do in Ayurveda? Well, we can just use these things that are generally good for immunity, because that will help me. I don't have autoimmune, so I don't have to worry about having too much immunity going on. And this isn't just for immunity. So I'll read you a little bit more about it to see what it might be helping me with and why they might have given this to me. So here's from this brand is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Kotakal. They are useful in the Ayurvedic treatment of fevers with a burning sensation, vomiting, bloating, and weak immunity and digestion. So it's the weak immunity and digestion that I have going on. The name Indukantam Kwatham means that these herbal tablets make one as beautiful as the moon. Oh, I like that. That would be really great if that could happen. They balance both Vata and Pitta dosha, and it is very nourishing in nature. So for me, it's the weak immunity that it can help with, as well as my digestion. So that's really covering both bases. Also, I have an extreme Vata imbalance. So both this and this are helping reduce the Vata. Let me see if I can give you a little bit more information about these. Let's see. This says it can be used for a long period of time on a daily basis. There are no known side effects with this medicine. Well, I started taking it. I went from having more of a Vata digestion where it was a little drier, and then all of a sudden I started taking this, and then I had a little bit more turning, especially right after I started taking it. And then it was like I was flushing a little bit, and now it seems to kind of be balancing out, but we'll see. Let's see. This is also, you also might see this called Indukantam Kashayam. It can also be dispensed in a liquid format. So this is basically like they took the liquid and turned it into a tablet. But if you prefer liquid, somebody might use a liquid instead. You can also get this with ghee. So that would be Indukantam Gritam or Grita. And the ghee version, I believe, is like if you have more pitta going on, that can help calm that down. And it's also very nourishing with the ghee. But they decided to give me just the dry tablets. They didn't really, there wasn't a lot of pitta indicated at the time that I spoke with them. I have had a lot more pitta. Like a year or two ago, I had a lot more pitta. And as the pitta's calmed down now, it's just more vata. So things change. And that's also why we want to change our formulas and what we're doing, because as we go through our healing process, things will change. Okay, let's see. Trying to find. Okay, so digestive system related problems like indigestion, acidity and flatulence, fatigue, rheumatic complaints, fever, asthma, arthritis, and anemia. So I have this unexplained arthritis or whatever it is. Let's see. No known side effects. Overdose may induce gastric irritation. So if I'm still using this and I notice that I was getting, a little bit more irritated with, my stomach, then I could basically back off a little bit on the dosage. Right now, I think it's okay. Let's see, what else can I share about this? Digestion, this is from the Kotakal website. Okay. Indukantam helps the skin glow through its power to rejuvenate pitta digestion along with vata circulation, which is how it strengthens immunity. So I really like that idea, because circulation might also be impaired in me because I have the problems in the feet and the hands. So in my extremities, things aren't working as well as they could be. So I might need more circulation. This article goes on to say digestion begins with digestive pitta, aka pachaka pitta, located in the lower stomach and small intestines. It metabolizes or extracts the nutrients that are needed to build immunity. The circulating energy of samana vayu, digestive circulation, and vyana vayu, peripheral circulation, transports the nutrients. This is for the Ayurvedic geeks. Other people's eyes are glazing over going, what are you talking about? Don't worry about it. You don't even need to know this unless you really want to. It transports the nutrients via Ranjaka Pitta, blood and liver metabolism, to the microvessels, where it reaches Brajaka pitta, skin metabolism, and imparts color to the skin. This process is working as it should. The result is a vibrant, glowing complexion, a sign of true health. Well, I'll just have to keep checking my complexion to see what it's doing. But for me, I'm thinking about the intermediate portion of like my little nerve fibers that are closest to the skin have kind of shriveled up and died because of whatever toxic thing was happening. So maybe as part of that whole process that was just described, this can help deliver some nutrients. Those little nerve endings can potentially regrow or heal. And they are part of the skin because those are my sensory nerves that I have had damaged. So I think this was kind of a very smart formula to give me, given my weird symptoms and the non-diagnosis that I have going on. And the worst maybe it could do is like, you know, make me feel like I need to use a bathroom a little bit more frequently. And other than that, it is helping to boost my strength along with this and along with this. So all three of these are all really ultimately about improving my digestion, improving my overall strength and immunity. So very smart, logical thinking on behalf of the staff and the students at Kerala. Good job. Now we'll see. I'm supposed to take these for 8 weeks, and then I'm going to have a follow-up with Dr. J, and maybe I'll follow up on my video here to see how I'm doing with that. In the meantime, I'm also going to be treating myself as if I might possibly have some, it might not even be the herpes simplex 1 that might be reactivated. I've also, way in the past, I tested positive for antibodies of, there's a lot of different herpes viruses, and we all would think of herpes as the genital kind, that is like the one that you're embarrassed to have, which I'm actually very happy to say I do not have that, yay. But there are other herpes types of viruses, and I have also tested positive for antibodies to herpes virus 6, which also can cause inflammation, neuroinflammation, and including some of these symptoms that I've had where I was possibly having seizures, which thankfully have not been happening recently, but also muscle and joint pain, fatigue, weakness, blah, 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 blah. So a lot of these herpes viruses, which also includes shingles, and Epstein-Barr is a type of herpes, it's in the herpes virus family. They can cause a lot of problems when they go dormant in the system, they never fully go away, and they reactivate. So I am just going to, at this point, go under some hypothesis that I still possibly have a herpes virus or in the herpes family, possibly reactivating. I can't say for sure. Are there other things I can do for it? I will do another video on that possibly, because this video is already long enough. But just real quick, I was looking up, herpes creams. My hands hurt. Is it possible that there's some sort of virus in my hands? Could I put some cream on to maybe help? Lysine helps reduce herpes outbreaks. So originally I was looking up lysine cream, and then this popped up, a shingles cream. Well, shingles is a type of herpes, and this cream has, and this is actually if you have full-blown shingles, this cream actually has manuka honey in it, which is antimicrobial. And so it is also antiviral, antibiotic as well. And it has a lot of other benefits. And there's all sorts of other ingredients in this, including hemp oil. Got great reviews. People were saying that they were using this also for just plain old regular neuropathy. I thought, what the hell? I'll buy this and try it out. So I've just started putting this on my hands. I'm going to do this 3 times a day. So far, it hasn't been a mind-blowing thing, but I just started last night. Might also try this on my feet, and maybe also try some lysine topical ointments. And I'm starting to take lysine again, which I had been doing from Epstein-Barr, and then wasn't sure if that was really what was going on. So when I ran out of it, I stopped. But it's very cheap, very easy to use. So lysine, topical manuka honey, and you can also take that internally. And possibly the coconut oil is also good for the Epstein-Barr if that is one of the issues. So there's a lot of other things that can be done. All right, so that's what's going on with this particular set of formulas and the reasoning behind that. I hope that sharing my personal experience and what's going on is helpful to you, whether it's for you personally or you're working with clients. And if you have any questions, please put your questions in the comments. I would love to hear from you. So I will check in. We'll see how things are going maybe in a couple weeks or so. And thank you if you've gotten this far. Bless your little heart. I really appreciate it. So now I'm just trying to find my mouse button so I can turn this off, and somehow it got lost. There it is. Alrighty. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.